Oh, run VT.
So, welcome everyone. Oh, hello and welcome to our weekly HudUniGames cast, coming to you from our home offices still. My name is Duke, and today I'm joined by Daryl,
Hi.
Matt, Mick,
Hello.
and a new face for you all, Ian. Some of our second years will know Ian. In fact, actually, should we just open with a quick, Ian, do you want to tell us, for the viewers, what you're helping us out with at the moment?
I'm doing the games design and analysis course on module, and it's a small group I have at the minute, but it's been a lot of fun trying to work on figuring out how and why games are made in the way they are, as much as the fundamentals of design itself. Trying to look at the cultural impact that some games might have.
And I haven't heard from any of the second years, although that's usually a good thing.
I literally said that the other day. I went, because I've not heard anything, I presume it's good.
It's been going well from my perspective. I've enjoyed it immensely thus far. I've been working with the guys now for 7 weeks, and cool. Of the group, the progression already has been really good. It's been good to see how people started off with a kind of sort of approach to stuff, but now they're really coming up with some great ideas. So I'm looking forward to see what it all works out at the end of the module.
Cool, excellent. Well, we should look forward to seeing what they do. Somebody's very excited. Daryl is back and also slightly red. It looks like he's got a bad tan, doesn't he?
I don't know what's going on with that.
But anyway, we should get on with the. So we're on 28, but we know why everyone's here, and it's absolutely for.
What? What you can say?
You tell me. The box! Who's in the box? Oh, what's in the box? What's in the box?
So before we actually
do we need to add audio to that?
There is
audio. When you watch it through the Twitch stream, there is audio.
I don't stream you the audio. I don't.
Have you been thinking all this time? Have you been thinking all this time that was a silent movie?
Yeah,
that's really weird.
No,
also proves that you never watch the streams back either. That's what it shows.
Actually, before we dive into what's on the box, has your bot run yet, Matt? Do we know to tell everyone? I know I did, but we should get. We've got 26 viewers, so I think must have run.
Yeah, the bot has gone.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what's on the box, we will read out. This is Ian's first go at this, so we're going to read out our text, and then I'll hit timer 30 seconds, and we'll see if. I'll watch the chat. Well, whoever's game it is will watch the chat. And then we'll see how we get on guessing. So I don't know who's first this week. It's me. So are we ready?
We are. All right. It's a racing game.
Isn't it always? Or an RTS.
To be fair, I played this, but I still know that racing games feature heavily.
Yeah. Feel the thundering sound of finely tuned engines and the scent of burning rubber. As you await I had to take this out because it would have given it away. Immerse yourself in the blistering speed and white-knuckle action of this game, the enhanced version of the most renowned arcade racing classic of all time. I disagree with that line, but anyway, featuring exclusive new tracks, secret unlockable vehicles, and if you have the skill, you can, love this, upload/download fastest times and ghost data via the internet ranking board. So you can see it, tell how old it is.
Yeah. So
is it Ridge Racer then?
No.
Well, you would presume it's Ridge Racer with the best arcade racer of all time.
It's either
Outrun,
Ridge Racer or Daytona, but it seems to be 2 words. So Daytona what?
Daytona Rally.
A Daytona Rally.
I don't know.
He's already done Sega Rally previously, so it can't be that.
Yeah. What's the best arcade game? What about like arcade race, like a Need for Speed? No.
2 seconds.
No, we need longer than 2 seconds to
do I need to redo the time?
A random.
I can think of.
What's that?
I'm going to go with Rage Racer. Rage Racer was a sequel to Ridge Racer, wasn't it?
It's that hard because there's not been a single guess in the chat so far.
I missed what Ian said.
Maybe the entire stream's crashed now. We don't know.
Ian, what was your guess? I missed it.
Sega Rally, but I can see if it's supposed to be the amount of things, then nah.
Yeah, Sega Rally we've had. Actually, Daryl was really close, actually.
What with Daytona?
No,
Yeah.
Ridge Race. Oh,
No.
Daytona.
Because it was
Really?
called
Daytona USA.
You git.
and I picked the Dreamcast version today.
They've just
That's
reminded me in the chat. Burnout is so good.
Burnout is good.
I should go back and play Burnout.
Yeah,
Burnout
I had
2,
Burnout.
obviously.
I think I had Burnout 3. I think.
See, I've
think
never
it
heard
was.
of that version, but yeah, it had to be Daytona or Ridge Race.
It was called Daytona USA on the arcade, wasn't it? Because it said Daytona, and then the
Did
USA thing. You know what? We have to go back to Arcade Club because they have it there. We can look.
Well,
That's how we solved
I
that.
have to say it is not the best arcade racing classic of all time.
No, I disagree with that. But it didn't say best. It says most renowned.
Oh.
Daytona-
Easy again.
Daytona's
Still
great.
not.
Is it a question mark?
It's a proper arcade game. That's what I like about it.
It is proper arcade.
It's probably the most pure arcade racer there is.
Yeah. Right, Mick, you ready?
Yep.
Go for it.
Okay. Bring it on. The number one fighter is back with classic one-on-one gameplay, now with stunning 3D graphics. Original iconic characters battle it out with all new fighters across a range of familiar and newly created arenas.
This
I want
is
to say Mortal
Street
Kombat
Fighter.
2.
That's got to be Street Fighter of some kind, hasn't
I
it?
was thinking Tekken.
No, or it's
No, because
Tekken.
Tekken was never 2D to start off with.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes,
That's
yeah.
true.
Oh, yeah.
It's there's only two things it really could be. It could be either a Mortal Kombat, but I think Street Fighter is more likely.
Yeah, it's like,
Okay,
the Street
Daryl,
Fighter
but
or
which
Mortal Kombat.
one?
What,
Again,
Street
I've
Fighter?
absolutely no bloody clue.
Street Fighter 4.
Well done.
Street Fighter.
on.
Is that what it
No.
was? Oh,
Street Fighter
Oh,
4.
I was too early to say that one. Yeah,
was
Did
about
I
to say
pick? I
Street
picked a
Fighter
random
3D.
number. Was I right?
yeah, you was right.
Street
Picked
Fighter
a random
4 the
number.
first 3D.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the first 3D version?
Mhm.
Wow, I didn't
Probably.
even. I presumed it was.
Yeah, I did. I would have thought earlier. Oh, what a guess! I literally picked a random number there. On the Xbox.
But then again, for every single numbered version of Street Fighter, there's like 20 spin-offs to go
Different
along
versions
with
and that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Muzzy said it was
all
the
that
best
kind of
Street
stuff.
Fighter.
Still
Fight was
no
horrible,
Tekken
bro.
though, is it?
No, it's not Tekken. Okay, onwards. Daryl, you're up next. You ready?
Oh, am I? Yeah.
Go for it.
Grab your XxxxX, guess the amount of words, and let the rhythm move your soul. Clap your hands and drum to the beat in over 30 songs, from kids' melodies to classical remixes and pop favorites. XxxXX puts the music in your hands.
It's got to be like
It's gotta
not
be,
Guitar Hero.
it's
You know the one where you got all the band, like Band Hero, whatever it was, where you got the
No.
drums and the guitar and the.
No, is it that Nintendo one with bongos?
Wii Song, Wii Music, or whatever it's
What
called.
was that called?
No, I reckon it's got to
yeah,
be.
yeah, Wii something. It's XX. There's 3 in there.
The one I was
Depends
thinking of
whether
is
Daryl's
Rock Band.
done it or not.
No, he'll have done random X's this week. But the one I'm thinking of is Rock Band, where you get like drums and guitar and something else. So I'm going Rock Band.
It's the Donkey Kong one.
Yeah.
Donkey
That's
Donkey
it,
Konga with the
Let's put drum to the beat. Yeah,
bongos.
yeah, okay. Well, then,
I don't know.
actually-
It's the kids' melodies to classic remixes of pop favorites that.
Love
just
it. It
throw
took you a while to get there, but yeah, well done. I thought you'd get it instantly. But
What was it? The Donkey Konga.
yeah.
really?
Oh right.
Yeah. I like that one they've got at Arcade Club. You know, with the Japanese one, you haven't got a clue what it's saying, but it's got the actual drums that you whack the thing. That's cool.
A long time playing that whilst I was in Japan. Yeah.
Or do you understand it then? Because I have no clue what it's saying.
I can't live there for 2 years. I can't speak anything. I probably little tiny bits, and it was just we spent a lot of time on that particular taiko drum one. Yeah.
That's great. Oh, Reese saying he played it in Manchester Arcade. Taiko. Oh, is that? Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Japanese drum machine. That is amazing.
Yeah.
They've got it in the arcade club in what's the one we got to now? Leeds, isn't it? Okay, Matt, you're up next. You ready?
Yeah. So I've blanked out the name of the game in here and another word. So if you don't get it straight away, I'll tell you what the other word is. But the legend returns, having been awoken from its eternal slumber by the appearance of name of game. Alucard must once again face the evil minions of darkness. Use your powers along with weapons, potions, and other magical relics to change the tide of battle. A mixture of platform and role-playing action with many hidden areas and secrets. Can you discover them all?
Leaving the name of the character was clearly too much of a clue, because the chat just went mad, and I don't think anyone used to guess.
Well, the fact that none of them have got it yet.
Oh, really?
So, oh wait. So it depends what you're going to guess.
Gary's, I've just seen Gary's check because I had to look at the chat when Daryl said that.
Right.
So I just had a quick glance, and Gary says I can get it on Switch if he means that Japanese drum game.
I think so. Yeah.
But I need the drums though. I need the because
Yeah,
it's the whacking of the.
Yeah, it is. You know,
Yeah, that makes it.
That's a hefty peripheral. I've got 2 Donkey Konga sets. If you can find a way to plug them into your console.
So I can see in the chat everyone's going mad over Alucard that it's too easy. Yeah, it's easy for you guys, but I'm pretty certain no one else on this stream knows what it is.
I've not played
Dracula backwards.
It's not Devil May Cry. It's not so much stupid like that.
I told you.
It's one of the Castlevania, isn't it?
Oh! There we go. So, yeah, which one though?
Oh, sorry. Oh, I did. You didn't say it. I didn't know I was going. Which one?
I think that
Symphony of the Night.
There's like 20 different versions of that game.
Okay,
you have to get which one. Now this is the best one, obviously. Symphony of the Night is the best one by far.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Okay.
I've not played any of them. I know it's terrible. I shall.
Yeah. So
you don't drive a car.
Well, yeah. Yes, it precludes.
Yeah. So I literally, it's on sale right now on Android for 50p. I bought it the other night when I was up in the middle of the night. So, yeah, if anyone wants a good Android port, which it actually is, it's 50p right now.
All right.
Definitely worth it.
That's the best one. Okay, so Ian, are you ready? Now being last, you've seen how it works. That's quite handy.
Whether or not it's fair for the guys on the stream, though, I feel somewhat old all of a sudden doing this one. But
that's
I'll
all right. That's fine. We're all old except Ash. Right, ready? Go.
Okay. Now the storm hits the desert madman is dead. Now his vicious son plots a nuclear strike against the USA. He's enlisted a powerful ally, a ruthless South American drug lord with an army of high-tech mercenaries. It's your mission to take them out.
Sounds like the next Die Hard film.
Yeah, you can't tell from the amount of X's, but that's a word that's in the title.
Is it Delta Storm? Is that, or is it Desert Storm?
Desert Strike.
I'm trying to think. It feels like I'm trying to think of the Ghost Recon style games.
You're on the right track.
Now the storm hits the. Yeah, it's probably not a Ghost Recon. It's
what about a Rainbow Six? Do any of those do this?
There were 3 of these, and they were all Mega Drive.
Oh,
they're all Mega Drive. Okay.
This is the second one. So Mick.
Yeah, I'm thinking Desert Strike. It's the helicopter one with
Delta Force.
The storm hits the Desert Strike.
Delta Force.
I can't see the stream, so whether or not anyone else has got this.
No, there's no one seems to be
very quiet.
Any the wiser than what it could be.
Oh, I forgot to put my timer on. Oops.
Was it 3?
It's close. It's not Desert Strike. It's not.
Oh, okay, right.
Desert Strike was the first one.
Right.
Jungle Strike. Someone's put in the
chat. There it is. Jungle Strike.
Jungle Strike.
Okay.
Yeah, this Jungle Strike was the first one that I got, and it plays like a Michael Bay film, and I think I understand why EA did a lot of the stuff it did following all this. So the Desert Strike one was a kind of Gulf War. It says parody on Wikipedia, which seems the wrong thing to say. And then following that, there was Urban Strike, which was a bit more kind of Thunder in Paradise-y, Hulk Hogan with weird boats and stuff. But Jungle Strike was the best. That was the best one. I have put a picture. Did it not come through?
Oh, sorry. I was just reading message.
Yeah.
That's the one. I remember.
I kind of recognize it, so I wonder if maybe I played and just don't remember.
It was like an isometric helicopter game.
Yeah. It was. It played really well. So you got your sort of missiles, guns, and you could little sprite characters try and drop them in the White House. They can go and take it back again. It was looking back on it. Yeah, it plays a lot like Call of Duty. But yeah, at the time it was kind of revolutionary. You don't get them every year now.
Cool.
I've played the Desert Strike one. I've not played Jungle Strike before. So
onwards then. Before we do, Gary's reminded me to check my DMs because he was spamming a load of links to Flipnormals. So it's worth just briefly mentioning that the
Word Duke.
Yeah, Flipnormals are having a sale because I can't remember why. Black Friday, that's the one. They're having a sale on a Tuesday.
Well, most of the
It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
It's so random. Yeah, it is Wednesday. You can't read. Shall we carry on?
It's because I was trying to read this at the same. Shall I just lie down in a dark
So
room?
essentially, there's a lot of companies having Black Friday sales right now, from software to tutorials to all sorts of random stuff. So keep an eye out for some good deals. That is the answer.
Yeah, and if you're on Discord, Gary's posted a boatload of links to some that he's recommending, so it's worth a shot.
And Elite Dangerous is free on Epic.
Yeah.
As is Mudrunner, isn't it?
Yeah. And Mudrunner's free end of this week.
Yeah. Elise says, isn't it better to wait for Cyber Monday? Well, I don't think the deals are going to get any better if it's half price.
Yeah.
So
I've always thought it's annoyed me this, because Black Friday this year has like been Black Friday month. It's like, well, why call it Black Friday then?
I've been spending since last Thursday, Friday. Just money.
I'm just gonna wait and look on Friday and Monday, and that's it. And if I don't want anything, I don't get
It's
it.
just like the concept that Duke has been spending money. I mean, what? Really?
I tried to resist.
I was in that sort of mindset thinking, yeah, I'm going to get a PS5. I'll make sure I'm ready. I'm going to save the money. And then when I started seeing all the pre-order malarkey, I thought, no, I'll spend it on a PC upgrade instead. But me not being as knowledgeable as you guys, perhaps, I was like, yeah, I can just get a new Radeon. That'll be fine. It'll fit on a 7-year-old motherboard. Oh, no. So Ash then sort of had to lead me through, yeah, you now need this, and you now need this. So I've now got an all-new singing, dancing PC that's probably well overpowered for what I need, considering I'm still only playing FTL. That's pretty much all I do.
There is no overpowered. That's just
Well, you say that, Matt. I think I told Matt already. I made a mistake when buying from Amazon on this whole everything is cheap cyber what's it stuff, and ended up buying 2 sets of 32 gig RAM. So I now have 64 gigabyte of RAM.
Well,
that might be a little overkill.
You can never have too much.
But it's like send it back. It said if I could get the guy. There was a whole thing when anyway. If I could stop the guy posting it in the post box, it had sent it back, and I'd been all right. He was like, no. All right, I'll accept the fact I've spent over, and I needed to. But
anyway, so we were going to talk about industry stuff, I think, first, weren't we?
Yeah, well, actually, some of the stuff that's coming in the chat is part of the discussion a bit later on. But we kind of just wanted to have a little bit of a discussion about industry stuff in general, and how do you keep in touch with what the industry is doing? How do you make sure you know what's occurring in the industry on a monthly basis? So there's a lot of links that Duke's going to open, and we'll just show some examples of different places. But it was more of a case of just saying, like, you need to be constantly reading up, because the industry is so fast moving and there's so many things that are changing all the time. So that you kind of need to know roughly what's going on. So keeping an eye on some of these websites. So things like Gamma Sutra is always good. So like yesterday I was having a read of that, and there was an article sort of discussing Apple's decision to drop the revenue split from 30% to 15% for those that are making less than $1 million a year. Now that's a massive deal for small indies, because it means that they're going to get an extra 20-something% revenue cut on all of their sales that they got going forward. And just like little articles like that that kind of you are going to slowly change the industry, going to change the conversation that's being had. When you go to these events and you talk to other industry people, and you go and talk about potentially going to get a job, you need to know what's going on in the bigger picture. And there was one I put on there, Duke, an example on this slide of one that's popped up today, which I thought was really fascinating. There's this interview with Phil Spencer that The Verge did. And basically the discussion is, in a nutshell, Game Pass, which is awesome, Microsoft have no clue how they're going to fund it yet. Currently, all the games that are on Game Pass are one-on-one contracts with developers, which is just insane that that's the approach that they've taken. Because I'm guessing right now, it's it's not profitable in the slightest for Microsoft. Because why would it be if they've got one-on-one?
Good for the player, though.
Yeah, really good for the
Yeah.
consumer.
I like Game Pass. But didn't Microsoft? That's not the first time. Didn't the first Xbox or the 360? I think it was the first one. They lost loads of money on the first Xbox. All the money came through the games, didn't it? So they used to, as a multi-billion-dollar company, they used to throw in money because they want market share.
Yeah, well, but that's when they wanted to make money from games, not hardware. But they're not making money from the games right now.
At this point,
because they're giving them away basically on Game Pass.
At this point, though, you've got to wonder whether or not it's about the data of the players, and this is doing about audience demographics a lot with me, which is how, in effect, if you're signed like Epic, they're giving away free games every week. It's not because they're just nice people, is it? They're trying to make sure that they can identify the types of players playing it for how long, at what times, and so on and so on. If they can then be encouraged to buy into other things off the back of it, then great. If you know that your Game Pass program is bringing in a particular swathe of gamers of a certain type, you can then be assured that, oh, well, they'll pay for this stuff instead of that stuff 18 months down the line. Microsoft can suck it up at the minute. If they've spent all that money on Bethesda and ZeniMax as a whole, they can afford a good few quarters of, well, it's not so great. It'll only really become a problem the next 2 years if they haven't started selling up stuff, for my suggestion.
Yeah, I think Gary's right in the chat, and I agree with it, that Microsoft are playing the long game. Is that if they can get, it's probably similar to Netflix's model, because you hear Netflix all the time that they're in how many billions of debt every month, but they're just trying to get their subscription base literally as high as it possibly can be by reducing. Actually, it kind of ties into the Netflix model quite a lot now. I'm thinking about it more because the Netflix model is get these people on a subscription at the same time as making our own content, so we don't have to pay anyone else for their content.
Yep.
Now, what have Microsoft?
Monopoly.
Yeah. Now, what have Microsoft just done? They're trying to get everyone on a subscription model, whilst at the same time buying up all of the studios, which is basically their content. Then, so eventually they'll have a big enough library that they don't need to start paying other developers.
And that won't be about exclusivity either, because they'll still be selling those titles onto PlayStation and Nintendo and such, even PC. Because if you've got Game Pass, then it's still relevant on PC anyway. Plus the fact that every time that Sony have to admit they need that game on their system as well, they're kind of gritted teeth saying, yeah, all right, fine, we'll pay it. And it's going through back to Microsoft each time.
We've got a request to smile. Everybody smile.
There you go. All at the same time.
I hope somebody screenshot that.
The Netflix thing this was about this. I mean, this as of today, I think it was Netflix have invested something like £1.5 billion into UK TV and film development. So you wonder whether or not that's going to be the same thing down the line.
Well, they just literally this week they announced the same for Mexico, is that they just put $1 billion into Mexican original content and original publishing. So they're building
Netflix
studios
just
out there.
Bought Shepperton Studios specifically. So they've bought up Shepperton Studios. Disney now own Pinewood. So the idea that the industry is not only just thinking about where the next game's coming from or the next potential revenue streams coming from, it's monopolizing it, isn't it? And knowing that they've got everything in-house so that they don't then have to rely on third parties down the line.
That's Elite's point. So Disney Plus is a gold mine because, of course, Disney make all the stuff anyway. So they don't pay themselves, do they? To have it on Disney Plus.
And Disney just bought up Fox, so they've got that entire back library to slowly add to Disney Plus if they want to.
Yeah.
Does anyone actually bother with Apple, though? Apple TV?
Apple who? What? And they're still around.
No, it's awful.
It is awful.
We've tried watching it and everything. There's like
So are
about
their
2 programs
computers
on
and
it.
phones?
So they have a subscription, and then you have to pay for everything on that subscription. It's pointless.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never tried it because it's Apple.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love their OS, the desktop OS, not the mobile OS, and I like their approach to UI. I just don't like their approach to everything else.
Yeah, I think the subscription thing is always very interesting to watch because it could change the way that games are made. If all of a sudden we go down a subscription model, the budgets have to reflect that there aren't going to be sales numbers anymore because it's all subscription. So it is interesting to watch how the industry goes. And I think Sony did an announcement the other day that their PlayStation Now Surface is going to have a revamp to try and compete with Game Pass. So We'll see what happens there. I know, like, if anyone's got a PS5, which is going to tie into our next discussion point, you get, is it like something like 20 or 30 of the best PS4 games instantly with your purchase of your PS5 just through their PlayStation Plus Classics. So it is interesting how they're all competing with each other to try and get that subscription model going. But it sounds like they want that subscription model to work, but they haven't got the plan of how to make it work yet.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
They'll figure it out, I guess. When you've got that much money, you can just kind of wing it and hope that it falls out in the right place. But before we move on to the next slides, I just wanted to highlight some of these other Seaport Games industry biz. .biz, sorry. You've got MCV, or Develop, and that has a website for information. You've got The Verge.
The games, like, so there's obviously that there's some of your mainstream ones like your Kotaku and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that as well. But I think the games industry biz and Gamasutra are the more industry sort of relevant discussion points, and they start having more interesting articles around how the industry is developing, as opposed to just, oh, this game is out, which is great, but how does that actually impact things? How is that going to change the way that we talk about games in the first place? And then that ties into developers, which is Daryl's next slide, which is the GDC Vault.
Well, I just think it's highly underutilized. For a long time, we subscribed via the library to GDC Vault, and we as a team were watching everything on there, and the students, although we tried to encourage them to, didn't utilize it enough, and yet another service fell by the wayside. That said, this year, you're in a very fortunate position because of the old COVID. The entirety of the 2020 content, you can click on that if you're on the website, Duke. If you go to the top, there's a link to click on for video content, and I think it's a blue one. Can't quite make it out from there. Yeah, that's it. And then you can click at the bottom of the 2020 list. There's a little sort of got continue with 2020. And you can see just the quantity of the videos that are available to you there. So the entire conference, GDC's an incredible conference to attend, but it will cost you over $2,000 if you live in the UK to get over there and pay for your ticket and a hotel, which is a ton of money. So this year, it being completely virtual meant that you could see the entire conference for free. The other thing is, having been to GDC and tried to see the talks that I wanted to see, you quickly discover while you're there that you can't do that because
you can't see them all.
No, they overlap hugely. There's like 5 or 6 on at the same time, and then there's all the stuff on the sort of like showroom floor that you want to experience and people that you want to talk to. So there's really no way that you can do all of it. So GDC is amazing, and currently for this year, it is free. So you should really make use of that. And if you find it's incredibly useful, then get a petition to contact a library and say, we want it back, please. It's a resource.
I really like watching all the game postmortems that they do on it. I was watching some Deepest Dungeon ones or Darkest Dungeon ones last week, whatever, and that. And yeah, the game postmortems that they do on it are really good.
Yeah.
And actually, for me, it's everything. It's just such a broad range of topics. You could lose yourself for weeks at a time trawling through the back catalogue. It's a fantastic resource that is hugely underrated. And I think the other thing for me is that I talk to students about this every single year, and they go, oh yeah, I've seen that on YouTube, but only a fraction of the content is on YouTube. Go and look at GDC Vault itself. It's fully searchable, and it's just a tremendous sort of resource that you can dip into when you're doing other stuff. You can leave a talk on in the background and carry on working.
Yeah, and it should be really important for our final years, especially doing their dissertation right now. There's a huge amount of content there that is referenceable because it's a valid source because it's a proper conference that has to be vetted, and so when you're putting that reference, all of a sudden that is a very valid, trustworthy reference that you've put there, and that person's saying so. Go and search the GDC Vault. It's really good.
So moving on then. Oh, God, sorry. Yeah.
It's not industry per se, it's more academia, but gamestudies.org is another site that I've used quite a lot that has a lot of critical considerations of games and academic considerations of games that tends to use a lot of these resources as well. So if you want to see some of the articles that are looking at games or looking at how games are viewed, then you can also go to that one as well. It's gamestudies.org. It's the title of it. And then I think there's just this, it's not as referenceable, but there's What Happened. I'll be mentioning that next week with my guys, which is this guy on YouTube effectively saying what went wrong about the development of games. And that uses a lot, again, of the GDC stuff and so on.
There's a lot of interesting articles out there, and I think this kind of goes back to that very first comment of there are a lot of sources out there, and what we tend to find is the discussion about games tends to be from the commercial side, when actually we want it to be from the industry, either from business side, from the development side, or academia side. Is that the commercial side is for the user. You want to be a developer. We need to have that discussion from this side of the table instead.
So, moving on to the next discussion point.
Which will be interesting to see how the chat develops over this discussion point. Because all of a sudden in the chat, I've already seen that fanboyism is becoming a thing.
Yeah, the fanboys are out today.
So, I think it's going to get a bit fanboyish, but Ash isn't here, is he?
Well, I can be the fanboy from Ash's point of view.
Okay.
Is there any point in even discussing consoles? PC.
But I was having this discussion the other day. Is that these consoles are on par with high-end PCs now?
They are,
and yet they're a fraction of the cost. So they are the most. Your PC master races, yes, you'll have your 3090s, your 3080s, and beyond, and
your pretty decent VR headsets.
Yeah, but we've talked about this multiple times. Is that developers will always go lowest common denominator in their dev cycle. And the lowest common denominator right now, unfortunately, because Microsoft are forcing it to a lot of their developers, is cross-generation must work on the original Xbox as well as the Xbox X, which is just insane that they're going back 7 years hardware and forcing developers to try and work it. That's one of our discussion points. If you go on the YouTube channel, you can have a look. We had a chat about Cyberpunk's delays the other week, but as soon as that cross-generational thing ends, Xbox Series S and PS5 will be lowest common denominator. So that's what developers will target first and foremost, unless it's a PC exclusive, but they're getting very, very rare nowadays.
They are with is it XMP, what it's called, the Microsoft's cross. When you buy one, so it works on everything. I can't remember the name of it now, but it kind of makes it. Any Windows game is automatically an Xbox game, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know if that's made them relax a bit on things, though, because there's no real launch titles out for Xbox, the new one, Xbox X.
No, there's no exclusives.
Yeah.
Nothing's been made just for the Xbox Series X yet. So, whereas on the PlayStation side, they do have a couple of exclusives right now, which is allowing them to sort of flex their muscles a little bit more with your Demon Souls and some of your other titles that are coming through, like your Ratchet and Clanks and stuff like that, which are coming out early on.
But stop me buying an Xbox now that Microsoft do this cross thingy, because I used to buy an Xbox for Forza, but I don't need to now. I can just play on my PC.
Yeah, I was having that discussion from a consumer point of view. I probably won't buy an Xbox because of Game Pass. I'll buy a PlayStation 5 because of their exclusives and I want to play their games, and I'll play the games that that aren't on the PlayStation on PC. Yeah. Or if a push, I'll do it on xCloud and stream it. So it's like there's so many ways that Microsoft are making it so you don't have to buy their console, which is just really weird.
That was before we came on, weren't we? I was mentioning that I had planned to do the PS5 iteration, this one, because I've had PS1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I'll get a PS5 then. And I was almost tempted to say no because of the way that Sony are doing the Nintendo thing of underproducing the units to drive up interest. And I don't play that game, so I was like, no, I'm going to get an Xbox then, almost out of badness, because I've never had it, and I'm sure I'll be able to use the Game Pass and all the backward compatibility and have a new adventure, if you like, in games. But then realizing that I wasn't going to get one at launch and the amount of money that I have to sort of set aside for it, I thought, no, I'll tell you what, I'll buy just a little bit of an upgrade for my old PC, not realizing that I've then got to have new bits and pieces that then allow that new bits and piece to. So I ended up building up this PC now where I'm going to be set for the next 5 or 6 years at least. That's good. And I'm glad that Xbox Game Pass is going to be cross-platform, because otherwise I've made a terrible error otherwise.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that underproducing of consoles and everything, because I'm one of the poor saps that hasn't got their Xbox that were meant to have.
I haven't got mine either.
No, but we had them pre-ordered since.
Yeah, Daryl hasn't ordered one. That's why he hasn't got his.
And
I'm thinking of getting a PS4 actually. I think I might finally get one of those. Now's a good time to jump on with that, right?
But yeah, so Amazon keeps sending us emails and everything saying that they're going to get more stock in, that kind of stuff. And they're currently saying it's going to be 24th of December.
At least you can play it for Christmas.
Well, it's one of those things like you obviously a lot of people are sort of speculating whether they did the Nintendo thing of understocking, but at the same time, Sony did announce that the pre-orders for the PlayStation 5 for day one pre-orders was greater than the first like 6 months of the PS4 or something. So I don't think they expected it to be quite as in demand as obviously.
It doesn't seem to have been as bad with the PlayStation 5. So I mean, like Ash got his on.
Oh, you say that? I've been trying to get a pre-order for friggin' since they first announced.
Yeah, I know, but
a lot of people got a bag of rice.
Yeah, we had our pre-orders since September when they first opened them, ordered pre-orders and that. And so you would have thought that they'd have, supplied that stock first, kind of thing. But it seems to be particularly through Amazon that we're having trouble. So, like I told the guys before, and that my brother was ordering the Xboxes, and he was ordering 4 of them. So he did 2 from Amazon, and I think he did 1 from Game and 1 from somewhere else. He's managed to get the other 2 that aren't Amazon, and Amazon just keep sending emails saying, "No, we're going to have new stock next week," or whatever. I mean, they actually sent out the original emails the day before launch day, saying we're ready to dispatch them. And then the following day, you're looking for your, order tracking and all that kind of stuff, and there was no update to it. And then later that day, it was like, we have a bit of an issue. There may be a bit of a delay. And then next day it was, there may be a bit of a delay. It may be like December. And then we get another one. Oh, it looks like we're going to have stock next week, kind of thing. And then another one. Then we're back to like December again, kind of thing, day before Christmas. And that's so it's crazy how they've done it.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I'm just reading through the chat as we're going. There's been lots of back and forth about things that are good about each console. There was even some like speculation of like UE5. I know we did if you want to go and watch a video on the announcement of Unreal Engine 5, saying that PS5 paid to show it off. They've already said that that's not the case. The reason they showed it off on the PS5 was because of the SSD originally. So there's been lots of interviews and game industry talk with Unreal since that first announcement, and which is linked nicely back to my very first comment, which was keep up to speed with the games industry, because a lot of the consumer focused news sites don't tend to talk about, well, there was this really in-depth technical talk with Tim Sweeney where we went into all sorts of different reasons why this works and that works. It's like, no, they just want to know which one was better, which one's got the highest sales numbers, things like that. So always delve in a little bit further. But actually, there you go. They're even sharing them in the chat. But I think this all sums up nicely with the consoles are very popular right now, and unfortunately, we can't get hold of them.
Ebbs and flows, doesn't it? Every time a console comes out, consoles are the bee's knees for a couple of years, and then they start to fade off as the next gen of PC stuff starts to come out. And I mean, this is for the last 30 years. It's been like that. Just they swap and change as they go through the cycles of the consoles. Should we move on to new software?
So this is mine.
New software,
which actually ties in with the how do you keep up to speed with the industry, so the games industry in general, but how do you keep up to speed with the game development industry and all of the new software that's been released, and all the new techniques and processes that have been? So I put just a couple of links into the slide show, which basically just the same way like game industry .biz just showcases what's new, is that there's things like Creative Blog, which is 3D World Magazine. There's CG Press and CG Channel, that just basically it's just the news of the latest tech releases and the latest software releases that are coming on. So they're just some good news outlets. But the example I wanted to talk about more than anything, because it's just exciting and interesting, is Marmoset Toolbag 4, which got announced yesterday. Which is very exciting from an artist point of view, because it's slowly kind of become, especially on ArtStation, if you're on ArtStation, it's like the artist go-to standard for just showing your model off and making it look as good as it can. Well, they've added a load of new features, and the biggest one that shocked me was that they've gone after Substance Hard. They have got a direct competitor now to Substance Painter. Obviously not Substance Designer. Substance Designer is still quite unique, but the fact that Marmoset Toolbag has direct texture painting in the viewport, and texture layers and smart materials combined with their literally industry leading renderer means that you can make your model look awesome now, even if it's not.
I love the fact that they've just stolen the interface design as well. It's like it's almost an exact clone.
So some bits of actually the nice thing about, I was watching they've released an entire playlist on YouTube of Learn Marmoset Toolbag 4, which talks through the interface, it talks through the texturing pipeline, the baking pipeline. I was watching all those last night, and they are really good little tutorials. So I think any artist will be looking at this and going, yeah, this is awesome. This is ridiculously good. What was that, Matt? Don't say that. What
I think that's when you said that you can make rubbish models look good.
Oh, don't say that. Yeah. I know it's going to make our life as academics a lot harder now, because students will be able to just take a rubbish model, slap it in Marmoset, put some smart materials on it, and turn RTX on.
Choose assignments that have specific art styles that are very difficult to replicate using that software. That'd be my advice going forward.
Yeah, and there's some comments here. How many more pieces of software do we need? Yep, this is the thing. This is the industry now. Is that you have your core set that you can do 80% of the job with, but then you've got about 1,000 other pieces of software that do the remaining 20%. So you have to kind of try and keep on top of it as much as you can, because you don't want to get left behind. You don't want to be the person that goes, oh, I'm still using this old workflow and everyone else has moved on from it.
But again, that's why it's another, I mean, that's very specifically about sort of like a particular kind of art and texture and things of that nature. But it's why we encourage our final years to make sure that they know what niche they want to slot into at the back end of the course. Because if you want to be a jack of all trades, you're going to find that you can't be. You know, are you going to learn Houdini, you know, as part of just a general workflow? No, you're not. But if you want to know everything, then you are going to have to learn Houdini. So you need to figure out what it is you want to do and what tools are going to be most useful and beneficial to you, so that you can progress in the career that you've chosen.
I noticed that in the previous Twitch cast that you did, talking about the different industry roles that exist, is I presume then that that's something that we work on with these guys longer term to see how to fit into individual niches.
Mm-hmm. That's what final year ends up becoming. It's that conversation, trying to find out how are you going to demonstrate. If you are going to be that niche, you're going to go for. So we've got. I'm just going to name him. We've got Jack in final year that really wants to be a lighting artist. That's what he wants to. But it's that discussion of how do you make sure that your portfolio is really clear that that's what you want, and you're showcasing all the different nuances of that particular industry, and actually how do you get yourself noticed when you want to be so niche. So actually in the conversation I was having with him yesterday, in fact, was he wanted to enter grads in games, search for a star. And actually I went, it's kind of no point because you'll just get absolutely annihilated by the environment guys because you're not an environment person, you're a lighting person. And how do we make sure that industry can see you when you're in that little niche, that little bubble? So it is difficult, but that's why we have in final year those one-on-one conversations, and why talking to your module tutors, talking to your final year project tutors actually in depth is really important.
So that conversation, Matt, was about how to shine a light on a lighting person, was
Yeah, yes, it was. That was awful.
I know. There was a question in the chat about, are we getting Marmoset 4 at university? It won't be soon. If we do, all the upgrade cycles happen during summer. So if it's released and available by next summer, it'll be probably on the list, but we'll have to wait and see.
What was that?
So one of the questions in the chat recently, I think it was, is university getting Marmoset 4?
Yes. That's the answer, because I will be putting it on my list if I want it.
But it won't be till next summer when the new image is built. Oh, look, I've got two fans of my
at the moment, no one's on campus at the moment anyway, so it's kind of pointless putting it on all the machines. And you, as Gary's saying in the chat, is that the RTX stuff is really awesome, but you need an RTX card to benefit from it. So not many people have those right now. So
cool.
I do now.
You do now, yeah. So I think we're reaching the end. A reminder of where we are, YouTube. Actually, do you want to mention the YouTube thing, Matt, that we're talking about?
Yeah, this is actually quite an interesting thing to pose to the chat, because I've been keeping an eye on the Twitch situation right now with the whole really bad DRMs and the way that they're handling advertisers and forcing adverts in mid streams and stuff like that. And there's been a lot of discussion with Twitch streamers whether they switch over to YouTube. And we're thinking, as we are just a Gamescast, we're not streaming hours and hours of gameplay, whether we would be appropriate to switch over to YouTube instead. Would it be a viable platform for us to go to? And actually, that's one thing maybe we have a chat with the chat. Have a chat with
that's 100% of the answers.
No ads is better than phoning. So it seems there's a lot of love for YouTube. So it's easy enough to do because Twitch can push out to YouTube. We already have a YouTube channel. It's literally, I think I changed one setting, don't I, in OBS, and that's it.
Yeah,
it
was one of those just discussions that when we first set this up, is that Twitch was great. There was no ads. It was just that had the gaming community, but I think as the years gone on, Twitch has not handled 2020 very well in terms of how they're handling their ads for non-partners and things like. Even for their high-end partners, I've been reading that the guys at the very top, like your ninjas and all those type of ones, they're getting annoyed with it as well. So maybe for next week we trial YouTube and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think at least 1 week, maybe see what happens. Dan has a point about getting banned on Twitch, but I guess if we're moving to YouTube, we don't really care at that point. Once we've moved, it's like, you cannot come on. It's like we weren't anyway, but I suppose. But we'll test it first. Cool. Okay, so anybody else want to raise anything before we wrap up?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.